Alright, let me run through a scenario and let me know if this is you. Hey, I'm a Fortnite creator and I've created this really awesome map, but for some reason people aren't playing it and I don't know why. I wish there was something out there that could help me understand the player behavior and why my map isn't succeeding and how I could try to make it a bit better. Well, this video will do exactly that. How's it going, everybody? It's Joel Lagur, aka Lagurkin, that Aussie bloke from Let Us Play. So after my video on my campaign of tracking the data and analytics of my Fortnite map Gotta Go, I actually got a few comments and questions asking how did I get those numbers in my overviews that I was sharing in my recaps. So I thought this would be a great opportunity to just make a quick video to run through what data and analytics Fortnite already provides for you so that you can get a little bit of an understanding of how to apply it in your own maps to hopefully help you succeed in making some successful maps. All you really need is two websites, your Creator Portal and Fortnite GG, just for some little extra bits and bobs to help you. So we'll jump on in. I'll run through everything on how to find where to navigate to and how to read the data, what does it mean for you, and then how you can apply it into your own maps. So let's get into it. I have the two tabs set up, so the Fortnite Creator Portal and the Fortnite GG. So first we'll run through the Creator Portal so you can see what's actually already available from Epic. So when you log in to your Creator Portal, you are presented with this screen. What you'll do is you'll select your team. So I go into the Let Us Play. So from here, this is where it's sort of a bit confusing or unclear. It sort of splits off here where you can go into your projects and there is a bit more details on each project, or you can go to the analytics, which is an overview of all of your maps. So what I'll do is I'll do the projects, and I'll open the overall analytics in a new tab so you can see both of them. So when we start off in projects, you're presented with all of your projects, all the maps that you've made. So for this demonstration, I'll back it up with the Gotta Go recaps. So we'll jump into the Gotta Go. So then you are presented with the screen of your publishing. So this shows you a snapshot of your Discover performance, your published, your thumbnails, if you're doing A/B testing, and all of your unpublished versions. You also then have your playtests and your private versions, but we won't go into that. So you can either, from this snapshot of your Discover, you can click on the View Analytics, or you can go into the Analytics tab just underneath the Publishing button. So now this is where you get into the nitty-gritty of the analytics for the project specifically. So overall, you've got audience. So this is where it captures the impressions. So how many players, how many people saw your map, your thumbnail showed up on Discover, then how many people clicked onto your map, to then how many people played your map at the end of the day. You can see here you've got an overview. You can filter by, last 30 days, yesterday, this week, last month, last 7 days, last 9 days, or a custom date range. So what I'll do, just so then you can see all of the data that was related to my campaign, I will change this and I'll go to last month, so the month of June, where you can start to see a few different numbers show up. So overall, I had 205,916 impressions. So that's how many people saw my thumbnail on Discover. From that, 1,227 people clicked onto my map, so which gave a 0.6% click-through rate, to 137 people of those 1,227 clicks actually played the game. So then you've got your click-through rate percentages of the days of when people are actually clicking through to then your overall impressions. So you can see here that I had a few spikes. So on June 13, I had 56,000, on June 18, 21,000, and June 26, 93,000. So this is where you can go, okay, so I saw where I spiked, well then, which category did I spike in? So this is where we go over to Fortnite GG. We can click on Creative. You can search for your map. So got to go in maps. There she is. And then if you scroll down, and you've got timeline and then discover. So we looked and we saw that it was on the 26th of June. So if I zoom out a little bit, go back to the 26th, and you can see there's actually those 3 spikes that I had. So if we zoom in on the 26th, we can then see exactly which category did I get those impressions from, where was it featured, where was my map showing to people, as well as a handy thing of, well, which number did it show up on. So you can see it actually started from about 8:15, 8:20, rank 33, 26, 28, 21, 22, 19, 15, 15 for 29 minutes. It's great for then linking the difference, because you can see, well, if it was in a different category, then that's great. Then you know that you are one of the strongest in a particular category. Or are you in the new and updated? Are you in the new update? So you could then see after every time you updated your map, were you featured? Because sometimes, even during my campaign, I wasn't featured every week when I did an update on the map. So that just helps you to be able to track when you were featured because of an update, or was it naturally? Did you show up somewhere and then your numbers started to boost a bit, and then you actually got into a category? So if we jump back into the project, so that's our impressions, and that's how we can link it to Fortnite GG. If we go down, we've got the click. So again, it matches and aligns with our impressions, which then our plays match up with our impressions. And this is where you can then see the trends where, it minimized, but there was a little bit of a spike. Again, minimal numbers at the end of the day, but just good to know. So after the audience, we then have the gameplay. We're biting down from those 137 plays. Let's get a bit of data from that. So if we click into gameplay, again, we've got our last 30 days. And this again is where it starts to split from the project specific to the overall analytics. So I'll just quickly pause on this page here. We'll go into the other tab of the overall project, and then so we can put them together. So like that I had at the start, I had the analytics tab. So this is where you can choose, well, which games do you want to show? So, you've got you can select a specific game or games, you recently published, your top 10 games, or your top 10 trending. So I will just go select games, I'll search got to go, click on it, update. The time range, again, I will go last month, which is June 1st, June 30, update. So on this page, you've got more of like the averages and the overviews, which I actually like this, but again, it's great to look at both and to utilize both. So in here, you have your total active players. So just how many players at a specific time, specific day. Then you have your average play time. So going through, people had some fun on June 2nd, 56 minutes. And then this is where you go into the new Fortnite ecosystem players returning, and your island retention. So if I go back to the more detailed project, it actually helps you, it actually gives you a bit of details on what all of those mean. So let's run through it. Again, I will change it to last month, and here we go. So we have the session length. So the average session was 11 minutes within the month of June. And this is where you can see the number of sessions based on how many minutes. So here we had 14 sessions only played for less than a minute. You know, that's the concerning one. So that's where you go in to go, why did you leave in just 1 minute? Where it's, why was that one person playing for 89 minutes? That's where you sort of try to look at your average, where you can go into here to look at your average play times. But at least this narrows down so you can get a little bit more detail onto, okay, we can see majority is around this point. But what do these outliers mean? And that's where you can drill down a little bit more. So next up, we have the queue time. So this is where a pretty funky graph that's going on, where you've got your median, your 25th to 75th percentile, and your 5th to 95th percentile. So the definition here is basically how long did it take for players to load into your game. So the median is the middle amount of people that it took to load in, where the 25th to the 75th percentile is the range of most players that were queuing, and then your 5th to the 95th is, you know, majority of your players. So, you know, the main thing to look at is the median, but there will be some times where you can then narrow down to go, why did that day, you know, why did it take 63 seconds for that map to load? And this is where then you can then sort of bite down into more of like your memory and downloading elements of the map. So you can see as the median hovered around that 25 seconds in order for a player to jump into the map. All right, then next we have game XP. And this is a really great graph to be able to show you where have you implemented your XP giving elements, so your accolades, and then to know, well, then how many people are actually using that? You know, did you put it in a section where it was a secret? And then this is able to then let you know, well, then that person got that additional XP because of a secret that you got from social media posts, so you knew that you brought in someone new, or is it from actually achieving certain checkpoints or levels or goals in your game? And then you can see how many people actually progressed in that. This is an awesome element. So you can see here, this is fully customizable for how you set it up. And so that's very important, to be able to set it up how you need to in order to be able to track successfully. So you can see I had multiple where it was island hoppers. So, you know, if people were actually venturing out into all around the map, they would get a little bit of XP. The obstacles, so just from starting one of those obstacles, they'll get a bit. They would get a larger amount if they actually collected a card at the end of the day. If they favorited the map, there was an element and a mechanic that I had implemented to be able to give them a little bit if they did. The winner chicken dinner. So if they won the game, they got an extra large XP given, amount for surviving for X amount of time and for X amount of kills. So you can see here, and then this is where the activation. So then based on your plays, you can then see the ratio of how many people are getting XP to how many people were actually playing it. So this one's a really good one. And then again, probably the most important one, because this one is completely customizable and beyond just granting XP to players, is your analytics devices. So there is no reason why you shouldn't be having more than 20, 30, 40 analytic devices to be able to track even just the minute elements within your map. This is where you can go wild with elements, where it's, you know, events where did a player enter a mutator zone? Did they exit a zone? Did they get X amount of eliminations? Did they select certain weapons? So then you can see, well, no one actually chooses that weapon, so why do I have it in there? That's a waste. I can swap it in with a different weapon and I can test to see if people are using that weapon. It's infinite of the ideas that you can do, which I'll actually do a separate video on my must-have analytic devices for any game in Fortnite. See, because I have 3 pages worth, I broke it down into the large island, so which exact island were people jumping on, in the large ones, in the small ones, in the end game, so then how many people were actually finishing the game. There's multiple. There is the weapons. What type of weapons did they choose? And so this is where this one's great. It shows you how many activations during that day occurred. So you can see a lot of my large islands and small islands were activated. All right, and that's it for gameplay. So then we go over to engagement. So again, let me just change the filter to last month. Okay, and now this is where it has the active play time. So this is where, how long did players play in your game? And this is where, because this is a super important one for Epic, how many people, the play time, were they playing on your map around the time that they were spending V-Bucks on the Fortnite ecosystem? Because then that shows, you know, their goal is to make money, and using your map as a vessel and vehicle to get people in to play, to therefore spend V-Bucks. So if you're able to get some pretty high numbers there, best believe you will be rewarded by Epic for that. So good one to look out for. Then we have our active players, and this is a great one where it breaks down into multiple subcategories. So you've got the active players, so just someone playing your map, so the number of players. Then you've got retained and recurring. So retained is when a player played your map again within 7 days, and then hung out in other Fortnite maps as well. And then you've got recurring Fortnite players, which is people that have played your map again after 7 days and hung out on the Fortnite ecosystem. So that's a really good one to see, because then that sort of leads into your retention, which is the golden number. But on the active players, you can also break down that a little bit further, where you can break it down into countries. So you can see majority came under other countries, and then the rest was United States. And then you've got your platforms. So you've got next-gen console, handheld console, or other platforms. So again, just good to know the type of players, and that's where you'll get your character behavior based on those type. You know, are you more of a players that do PC, console, or like the Nintendo Switch and handheld or mobile even. Then you have the new and returning Fortnite players. So this again breaks it down a little bit differently, where new, meaning they have never played Fortnite before, they jumped on Fortnite and played your map first. The next is returning Fortnite players. So they had an account, they had played Fortnite, they haven't played for 28 days or more, then they came on and played your map first. So that one's actually a really good one, because again, that helps Epic know you're actually bringing people in outside of the current ecosystem. You're bringing in new people, or you're bringing back people that haven't been there for a while. And next up, satisfaction. So again, after filtering last month, then you can see, and this is where this is a really great humbling moment, where it shows you basically the scale of 1 to 10 of when Fortnite, once they leave your map, they then pop up. You may have seen it before and may have been asked this before, to then rate your experience and with that map. So again, this is decent in showing, you know, the score and what people think. So, you know, did you have fun? No response. How difficult was your game? Was it just right? Was it too easy? Was it way too difficult? And a few others. To be honest, this is actually very limited, and I'll actually create a separate video on how to create your own feedback form, because that is way more better than possibly getting someone to rate. So great to see it and take the feedback on and accept it. I see that 1, awesome. I can then work on it. But see, you can see then it's a 1, but it's empty. Okay, I can see that it was just right, but why was it scored a 1? Was there bugs? Was it just not fun? Was it, you know, what was the reason? I look at this but I use my own setup to be able to get a bit more detailed response and feedback. And then lastly is retention. And this is the most important one of getting people to come back to your map. So you can see I had a day one retention of 50% on the June 1st. And so again, this is where and then a 20% on June 14th. And this is where you have to then relate it to the spikes. You know, did someone new or their first time come in when it was presented on the Discover page? Did they click on to it then that day? They played it, then they actually enjoyed it, so then they came back the next day, or 7 days or whatever. So this is where it all comes into tying together. It's great to see it just individually on face value and to get a bit of insights, but this is where you can get a little bit more detailed on creating your own dashboards and your own analytic tools to be able to see it. And that's what I do and continuously build upon for my games. But if you're just starting out and you've never even touched this before, this is more than enough to just start getting some basic feedback, basic insights into how to actually use this data to be able to update and have a data-driven development mind every time you do update your maps. So now also, if I just jump back into that overall analytics section, I just wanted to quickly go through that there are the other tabs in here as well. So this is where you've got the performance. Again, it's a little bit fiddly with these elements, with the performance, the game, XP, and the analytic devices. Here in the payouts is where you actually can see which maps is actually making you money and how much did you get for that month. But for example, for the game XP, if you go show me, see this is where it's a little bit tricky. If I go first to the 30th and I then search got to go, it'll then show me the accolades, so the title that I set, the number of activations, the percentage, and then there's a nice pretty little chart to show you the weighting of which ones you actually activate. Same with your analytics device. So this one, like I was telling you with the users, that actually I put in a mutator zone underneath in a secret area, which then allowed me to show and determine. I created some shorts of how to get there, and then it actually showed me, so under the balloon, 2 people actually watched my video, jumped into Fortnite, went under the balloon, and found it. So it's elements like that that can help you to know when people are coming in and to actually know if your socials are actually working. So this is where it's great when you create a social, have an intent to have an analytic device in the background to then be able to relate it to then go, okay, I know for a fact that it was because of this video. And that's it. So just know Fortnite does give you more tools and data than you might realize, and using it can be the difference between guessing and growing. So I highly recommend get familiar, get used to the Creator Portal and the data and analytics. And to be honest, as a person that works in data and analytics and building data platforms, data is your best friend. So get to know them, become buddies, shake hands, give them a cuddle, and say thank you for helping me be able to actually have a bit of navigation of where I'm going and not just going in blind and hoping for the best. So cool, I'm done. Thanks so much for watching. Hopefully this was helpful to you guys. If you do have any questions, chuck it in the comments, hit me up, DM me on my socials. I'm more than happy to go through it. I actually love this stuff. As I told you, I do it during the day. I do it when I get home. I love this, and I love teaching it, and I love educating and helping others and helping the community. So if this was helpful, even just 1%, awesome, my job done. Go get creating, start to have a data-driven development mindset, and just have fun with it. Catch us on the next time.